the origami. No one knew about that. I didn't know about
that was your idea, or that was his idea?
It was mine.
Wow.
I mean, the language is mine, the language was mine, the Asian influence was mine, the understanding, not mine, I meant that I had
No, it was yours.
I infused it into the structure of the piece, along with, he placed me in a scene where I bring Rutger, after getting him at the noodle stand, I bring him to see Captain Bryant, and they're talking in the scene, and they put me, and I thought I was gonna walk in, hand them off, and then please leave, walk out the door. That's what I really thought, that was what was gonna happen. But he said, no, sit back in the back. And where that kid is right now with the red shirt on, all the way back at the door, was the distance I was from the scene. That's how large the room was. And if you see the movie, you'll see them sitting at the table, and and Harrison and Bryant, Emmett Walsh are talking to each other. And I said, oh man, this is really interesting. Why am I in here?
Right.
my brain, trying to say to myself, why am I in here? And I said, wow, I guess I'm supposed to be hearing this, but not showing that I'm hearing it. And yet I'm supposed to be not drawing attention to myself, because that would take away from the scene, the actual scene being done. You couldn't move around and do stuff, because then your eye would go to that. Or if you stood like a tree, you draw attention to yourself. Pretty soon it becomes very conscious to people and say, well, that guy's just like sitting there going, and then it becomes a bothersome image inside of the structure of the situation. So, just by chance, I looked over, and on the table was an ashtray right by my side here. And in the ashtray was a Ridley's gum wrapper, white on the outside and with the tin foil on the inside kind of stuff. So it had like texture to it. And I picked it up, and I started to use it. So now I had something to do that wouldn't make me go like crazy. I wouldn't just be sitting like this. I was doing something. And what I was doing was like playing with this piece of paper. And by playing with a piece of paper, as I was playing, and I'm listening to them talking over there about, and I looked at it, and it kind of like looked like a chicken. And I said, oh, yeah. And I'm listening to what he's saying. I said, this guy is a chicken. Big tough cop, this guy. And so I'm thinking to myself like that, and I finish it, and then when the scene's over, I put the thing down, and I go, whoop, whoop. That was it. Ridley came over and said, came across, and he said, bring the camera over here. Take a picture of the chicken. and it was really funny, because then, of course, the props department said, that is not a chicken. So they kind of...
They pull in the expert guy to do the
real chicken.
Yeah.
And so he did the chicken, and I mean, they took it, then they put in another shot of the really good-looking chicken. So then the next situation was the whole situation with the stick man. I was then again, man, they take me into the scene, I'm in the situation, and there's Decker, he's running around the scene looking for Leon's room and checking everything out. What am I supposed to be doing? I mean, I drove him there. I got him. Am I a taxi cab driver? Should I wait in the car? No, they bring me into the scene. I go, interesting. I'm in the scene again. And I look over, and there's a matchstick. And so I'm fracking with the matchstick. He's running around looking at everything and then they would shoot me a little bit, and then they'd look up and they'd look at him do the thing, and I kind of get a little bit of a grin or something. You didn't know what I was thinking. The guy was weird. My character was very strange. And so then that's when I put the little heart on. I don't know if any of you saw it.
I did,
Yeah. The little matchstick has a little heart. And if you look real close, you'll see it. It's in the movie.
Yeah.
And so, so I made the little thing and I put it down, and it was just funny. Cut two, I come back to see the movie after it was all over, and sure enough, man, that origami had an incredible, and my character had an incredible position in the story itself. I was the only one who knew that Decker was a replicant. And I left the unicorn right at its apartment when he gets up and he takes out Rachel. He takes her out and then he finds it on the ground and he looks at it and looks up at her. And that's how the movie was supposed to end, with the way it does now. And the thing closes and she's looking at him and he's looking at her and it goes, blick, and that's the end of the movie. Okay?
He gave it a lot more thought than I gave my character.
Honey, you were brilliant. You were brilliant. I mean, you were truly a gift.
I always try to say to people, like directors, to please tell me what you want, because then I can do it. I feel so capable of following instruction. Like, please tell me what it is that you want. That part seems so easy to me. It's the part where you see actors kind of pacing around and trying to come up with stuff to make more out of what they have.
Like Eddie just did.
Yeah, no,
I didn't make it up to do that, though.
No, I know, but that's what we do, is we try to enhance what we're doing or what we're given to do. Because on shows, you sometimes, you get stuck in the corner and you try to fight your way out. You try to make something out of your character, the most that you can make out of it. So that was always something that I watched Eddie do, which is try to, boost up what you were doing, and did a great job at it. And Ridley went with it.
He was strong
Yeah.
enough to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very few artists that would allow that kind of growth inside of a situation and then take it to another level. Somebody's leading down a road and this character's leading down a road, all of a sudden he's making this movie, and being all of a sudden, whack, he connects this was given to him idea, boom, and pretty soon, man, that idea becomes, the whole unicorn became the whole essence of understanding. And it was really, it was.
I remember something Ridley did that was so funny. He came up to me when we were shooting out there, and he took his thumb on my eyes like this, and he just went like this on my eyes, and that made it all this,
That's how you did that.
He just kind of came up to me and smushed my eyes in, and I was like, I was a bit taken aback, because most women want their makeup to look good, and I thought, what the heck? And then from that point on, the makeup man, he actually finessed it at some point and made it look, actually painted it in, like smudgy looking stuff. But that was really just coming in and sticking his fingers down my eyelashes and, messing my face up. And, that's sort of the process.
So I'd like to open things up. So I'm going to go for some, let's go for that. The arm that's up there, sir. Yep, that's you.
That's a man.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I just read the words. Aaron was brilliant. I mean, he was brilliant. Just like, anything else. Most of the time, I just read the words. I mean, Battlestar, I just read the words. Once in a while, we might get into our own space, but basically, we stay inside of the situation. The writing is really, there's nothing more important than the writing, to be honest with you. And the script is the single most important aspect, and the writer is the most important aspect of any film, any audiovisual event. How we interpret that is a whole different story. Now, they never told me how to act. Judge Mendoza. No one, no director ever told me you gotta do this or do that. Same thing happened with my Vice and this one. I mean, in Blade Runner, I just took off and they just like would turn on the camera and look what I was doing. That was it.
Yeah, open to it.
Yeah, they were just complete, and you too. I mean, they didn't really tell you how to act. They were.
Oh, I don't think that's true, Eddie. I think he told me exactly everything he wanted to do. Absolutely everything. Everything, even including don't raise my eyebrows. I mean, remember when I had that little, you know how George Clooney goes like this kind of, you know? You know, he goes like that. Well, I did that too. And he put that clamp on my neck, remember? So that I wouldn't move in my close-up. Like literally, I was like this. And then he taped my ears down because my ears stuck out a little bit and the hairdo was kind of intense. You know, no, he told me every single thing to do. He made me smoke cigarettes because he wanted to lower my voice because I sounded too young. He kept me in that dressing room. Remember the old dressing rooms? They were just that box. And then you had to go all the way over across the sound stage to use the bathroom. They didn't have the trailers, and you know, then. And he ordered that I stay in this dressing room all the time. And I had to bribe the second AD to give me a radio so I could like move around and be free instead of being stuck in there. And then I would hear go get Sean, and I'd run back to my dressing room so that they wouldn't know that I had been running around and seeing other people. No, he was very controlling with me. He didn't do that to the guys. The guys was a different story. He was very manipulative with the ladies. Wow. Sorry, but that's just the way it was.
So anyway, on Judge Mendoza, yeah, I'd said the words. They wrote them. No, I love that character. They wanted me to continue to do that character. They wanted me to become a regular on the show. And I turned it down to continue. We were doing at that time, I was given the opportunity to do American Family, which was a PBS television program that nobody ever watched. But, instead of doing, you know,
Sorry, sir.
West Wing, I did American Family. But American Family was quite interesting because it was the first all-Latino event that ever happened on television, broadcast TV, ever. And so that was the decision I made, to either become, you know, part of the West Wing family or help this other story be told, and I did. I helped them, and it was really a good story. And I don't know if you can even find it now. I don't think you can. But American Family, the second season, is monumental. Second season was taken off the air by CBB and the Bush administration for the fact that we were using the Kuwait war sequences in the production, and it started with the bombing of Kuwait, of Iraq. That's how the whole second season started. And they told us, if you continue this way, you're off the air. And the LA Times and New York Times had got a hold of the story that they were taking us off the air because of the content of the material, and it became censorship. And it was a huge event that happened, but they kicked us off the air. And so it's, if you ever get a chance.
He says there's no propaganda.
No, you're right. We really fought for that show. It went. It was a beautiful show too. Some people got to see it, but I don't think you can even get it. You can't get it. Second season of American Family. Try to get it if you can.
I'd like to ask you about Blade Runner 2049. I thought it was a beautiful continuation, and you're both in it in a roundabout way. So I'd just like to get your opinions on the film and your opinion of seeing yourself kind of transported back in time in a way.
Go ahead. Well, you know, I always try to not stick my foot in my mouth, but too bad. I basically felt left at the curb on 2049. I felt like I should have been in it, so they kind of avoided me by making the show about me. And I think a lot of people were kind of disappointed that the character hadn't, you know, shown up again. And I said 2 lines. I was in it for 30 seconds. even I have my theory about why that happened, but it doesn't matter. It's all water under the bridge at this point. So, yeah, I felt left at the curb. But I thought the movie, it was 2 hours and 51 minutes. I thought it was much bleaker than the original. And I personally didn't love it as much. I know you loved it, but I thought it was extremely bleak and depressing. And I thought it took great cojones to make a movie 2 hours and 51 minutes long, you know, and demand the audience to sit there at that. But it is, Roger Deakins, his photography is like off the charts, and I never saw anything that was like that in my life.
And Jordan Crenowith was on the original.
Yeah,
right?
Jordan, yeah.
And that was also brilliant.
Yeah, also
He was dying.
ahead of its time,
He
yeah,
was really dying on the set.
yeah.
It was
Didn't they
lit-
give him some wrong medication, and then
Exactly.
he kept...
Literally dying on the
Yeah.
set. I mean, like, I used to play with him, you know, he'd be standing up there, and he was a young guy. He'd be standing in there, and he's completely, couldn't even walk or anything. He was just cramping, his body was cramping up. And so I'd move his chair. Come on, Jordan.
Mean!
We had a great relationship.
What was your reaction to 2049?
It was, for me personally, I didn't think I was going to be in it. I didn't get the phone call until maybe a week before they ended. Yeah, I didn't know. I thought they were calling me up to say, sorry, we didn't use you. But it was a situation that was quite interesting because when I saw the film, and at the very beginning, when they asked me, I was going to say, like, my advice, the movie, I just said, go ahead, do your thing, guys. You don't need me. And because they wanted me to make that movie with those guys, and I didn't. And so I was going to say no to it. And then I said, no, you know what? This is a legacy that has to continue to move understandingly. And I'm sure that Denny Villeneuve is brilliant filmmaker. And I said it would be an honor and a privilege to work with him. So I went, and I had one day. But it took about a 2.5 minute scene, maybe 3 minute scene. And it took us maybe about 2 hours to shoot it, maybe 3 hours to shoot it. It was really quick, very simple, very well done. But I was so grateful because when I saw the film, and I wanted it to be 3 hours and 70 minutes long, or 4 hours and 10 minutes, because I love the movie, I love the universe, and I love the world, and I'm used to seeing, you know, binging on the visual artistry of this planet, because I've done 10 hours of viewing, sitting down and watching stuff, maybe eating in between, but so I'm not akin to not liking long movies if they're good stories, and I was very happy the way they used my character. It really took me back because when you guys saw it, like when I saw it, first of all, you don't know I'm in the movie. So when you went to go see the movie, you had no idea who was going to be in it. When you saw Sean, you went, whoa, she's in it. And when you saw me, you went, he's in it. and literally, it was really excellent usage of my character. Because I just sat there listening to this poor kid who was being led like a lamb to the slaughter, thinking that he was the son of Decker, and I knew that he wasn't the son of Decker, but I wasn't going to say shit to him. I didn't say this. So instead I give him a little lamb. Walks out and you might want this. Which I thought was pretty straight. Good.
So, yes?
Hi.
Two.
I think the latter. I think they needed each other, and she was discovering things, and he was discovering things, and the debate about whether he was a replicant or not
That was a big one.
was not decided until, and maybe ever, you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't think they wanted him to be a replicant, or they envisioned him to be a replicant. And I'm still like confused as to how people then ended up thinking he was it because of the origami.
Yeah.
That was like his memories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and those memories, like what he knew about you, that's how he knew that, he knew your memories too, and so, yeah, that was it, and that gave the audience, how many of you, the first time you saw it, realized that he was a replicant? Raise your hands. 3 of you.
See, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Well, because they didn't get the necessarily the go-ahead from like Alan Ladd and some of the other producers, because their feeling was that a hero had to be human. They didn't sort of see him as an anti-hero, or they didn't see him as, they were thinking box office, you know, or test audience, like kind of thoughts. Like, you can't have a non-human leading man.
It's interesting because basically, excuse me, it's really interesting because my personal feeling after seeing the movie the first time, and I was in the audience, I was in New York, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
And I was there, and so I went to see the first screening. And as soon as the lights went out, everybody lit joints. Wow, man, we're really watching it now. And it was really amazing, because you gotta remember, this is 1982, I think, 83?
Yeah, 82.
Yeah, and so that it wasn't legal yet. And but when I watched it, I noticed something.
He was at the St. Mark's Place Theater, so that might have been it.
I really saw that the people were not really, the character that Harrison created was a character that was very strong, but he was just, they kicked the shit out of him. Everybody did. From the very beginning, he was constantly fighting for his life and not winning all the time. And when he would win, it would be like at the last split second, bam! But these guys, these replicants were really intense foes for him. And so it was really a different kind of a hero. Remember, he had done Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then the second Star Wars.
Yeah, but Rutger he did kind of steal the show. Like, my two favorite lines
are you kidding?
that
Stole
Rutger
it.
does, he goes, at the very end, he goes, when he gets hit in the face, he goes, "That's the spirit," you know. I love that line. And then he gets hit in the head, and he goes, "That hurt." I thought those are my two favorite Rutger lines, and he had so much, you know, his vim and verve, the way he kind of. And
Really?
poor Harrison. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember there being kind of two different camps, the Harry camp and the Rutger camp, because both of them were really angling to be masculine, you know, and I think it was harder for Harry to be, you know, kind of thrown down on the ground and kind of, you know, being rained on, and having Rutger be so omnipotent over him. I think that was challenging for him, you know, and I
Well,
think they kind of...
It was challenging for the audience. That's what I'm trying to say here. The movie did not take off. It only made 4.2 million in the first run here. It bombed. It was a complete disaster. And it was as bad as, you know, the Michael's Cimino movie.
Heaven's Gate?
Heaven's Gate, same thing, two $40 million movies. It did not work. And those were the biggest movies at that time. I honestly felt when I was
Except that Heaven's Gate didn't go on to become a cult film, and it wasn't actually a good movie.
But I was telling you, and if you had cast Jeff Bridges in that role at that time, the movie would have been a different film. A lot different. And not that Harrison didn't do a brilliant job what he did with his work, he was excellent. But we weren't ready for him to be the anti-hero, a guy that could be thrown around, a guy that was.
Like Mr. Han Solo, you're not thinking he's going to be, you know, Mr.
James
Deckard.
Bond getting, Sean Connery getting his ass kicked every 2 minutes, he was James Bond, you can't do that to him. And then this kid, Harrison, had done the 3 biggest feature films, gross box office feature films in the history of film up to that point. And this was his 4th film. And boy, there was tension, but the tension was a different kind of tension than I felt that between Rutger and Harrison, because Rutger's character was by far was stronger. He was not human. He was a replicant, so he was incredible. And so I felt that it was miscast in that respect. And I think that at the time, I think even Harrison would have said, you know what, this is not what I signed up for. But at the time, he was such a big box office that's how they guaranteed a $40 million movie. So they had to go with that kind of a situation. And Jeff, who is a brilliant artist and great actor, was just moving into that level, but hadn't hit that level. His movies, he had done some great work, but he hadn't do it. Go ahead.
That guy there with the beard?
I was wondering, there's a lot of philosophical ideas that came from this movie. Did it have an impact on your own beliefs? And what is life?
What is the what?
The meaning of life is 42, according to
I don't understand the question.
Okay. Seriously, I think what you're asking is what kind of an impact did the film have on us, making it, right? Again, we were in it, so it was not impacting us the way it does when you watch it. Okay, so we were inside the characters, so, I mean, as far as we were concerned, what the hell, I'm a Blade Runner. And so I was a Blade Runner, and no one even realized it, that there was 2 Blade Runners in the movie, but no one ever called me a Blade Runner. But I was a Blade Runner. I was there for a reason.
I'm more practical. I think the lesson I learned was never make a director feel bad for hitting on you.
That always doesn't work right.
When I interviewed Sean in San Diego, and it was an amazing celebration of Blade Runner. It was opening for Frank Miller's 300. And I asked you a similar question, and I said, what was your what did you take away from the film? And you said ecology, that you were very, very worried that in 2019, we were going to have a dark and troubled world. And now we have the Amazon rainforest. So not that answers any questions, but, okay, big wavy hands, Scott.
Yeah. Question about remakes. Now, Dune is getting a new version, and I really want to hear your thoughts on that. Both of you, especially Ian, because there is a new Chani. I would like to know what you think of her and the movie in general. Thank you.
Well, I emailed Denis and begged him to put me in the remake, the sequel, and didn't hear back from him, so I could only conclude that wasn't his desire. And so, screw the sequel is all I can say.
Sequels are a tricky situation. I just finished, you all know that 16 years ago, 60 years ago, we did a sequel or a remake of Battlestar. Big issue. People hated us because we made, Starbuck a girl and all kinds of different changes. And so basically, it's really tricky. You really have to have confidence in the way you're touching material because people have their opinions of it and they'll tell you at the box office they won't go or they won't watch your television show.
Yeah, they walk in with a baseball bat, ready to criticize it.
Yeah.
When I interviewed you for Space about that, because Space was running Battlestar, you said, okay, direct to camera, I'm gonna do this direct to camera. If you love the original Battlestar Galactica, don't watch our show. And I remember how shocked I was to hear that, but it set the tone for the remake.
Yeah, you kind of had to. I mean, basically, their people were really angry. And Richard Hatch and all these people who had spent 25 years of their lives trying to get the thing done again were really upset that they weren't really leading the pack to get it done again. And all of a sudden, they were doing it. And who were they to be able to do it when they were the ones who had been pioneering the whole structure of trying to make it again? And it was very difficult. It became, a lot of you in here, many of you didn't like our show because you liked the original. And many of you didn't like our show until you saw the show. And then you started to say, well, wait a minute, this is a different take on it. And then so you like them both now, which is the right way to be.
Very back. Yeah, yes, the little duck hand went down, yes.
Great hat. Oh, I get it.
It took me a little bit to, the first time I watched Blade Runner, I had to see it like a second time to really get it. You know what I mean? Did you guys know when you were filming it, were you shocked when it didn't pan out when it first was released? Or did you know it was going to come? When did you feel the movie was going to be successful or not? Did you read it? How did that happen? Like, what did you feel about
What do you think?
Well, I personally knew from the moment I walked on the stage that we were in a really iconic film. The production value is unprecedented. I've never worked inside of a production value. It was 1980.
I didn't have a basis of comparison, so that wasn't my experience, because that was really one of the first films I had done that was of that nature. But it did remind me of the older movies. You know, you could see that the lighting was being especially done, and, you know, I remember when we did ADR, and when I saw my face come up to the screen in the very first entrance shot of my character Rachel, I thought, damn, that's pretty amazing looking. And it reminded me a lot of Joan Crawford and some of the people in that previous era. So it had that retro feel that was when I figured it out, was in the ADR session.
I have to say, I think it's one of the great entries in any film. Rachel
She was so beautiful.
Okay, over here.
She's so beautiful now.
Go ahead, we're sorry. He's doing shtick over here. Come on.
when Blade Runner was originally released, it had Harrison Ford's voiceover, and then when Ridley Scott cut the picture, he took it out. I'm just wondering which version of the two you might have preferred.
I thought I liked the voiceover better, and then I recently, maybe 18 years or 20 years later, saw the other version without the voiceover, and then really liked that, and then heard the voiceover again and didn't like it, you know? So it sort of, I think I liked it because it was the original, and we were all kind of stunned when we first saw it, but then as time goes on, and you see the improvements that Ridley made to his director's cut, I think I'd prefer that one now.
I just wanted to comment at the end, the last scene